Hello to all my wonderful constituents in Maryland's beautiful 8th Congressional District and beyond. It's Congressman Jamie Raskin coming at you for my favorite time of the week, local heroes. And we need a local hero as we try to deal with all of the manifold crises of our times. But I'm here this week in Congress working hard on promoting the infrastructure bill and also the budget reconciliation package. Working hard on that, but it's wonderful to take a break on this Friday, September 24th, the last week of September, to recognize an extraordinary local hero who is the new principal of Richard Montgomery High School. And her name is Alicia Morales Deeny. And I've known Ms. Deeny for a long time because she was a principal of the Tacoma Park Middle School for 8 years and had worked before that in a lot of different capacities in the MCPS, including as a library assistant, a department chair, a grade level team leader, and also how I got to know her as a Spanish teacher. And she was not my Spanish teacher, alas, but she was our oldest daughter, Hannah Grace Raskin's Spanish teacher back in 2006. And everybody loved Ms. Deeny then, and everybody loves Ms. Deeny now. And she was assistant principal at Blair High School before becoming the principal at RM at Richard Montgomery, and is making such a big difference in that community for everything you do to help our students, to nurture a new generation, to promote bilingualism and opening up the language compartments in people's brains. We are making you our local hero, Ms. Deeny.
So much, Congressman Raskin. It's a huge honor.
Well, we're so psyched to be with you. And I know there are many facets to your leadership and to your professional career. You've worked on education for farm workers. You've worked on education for kids throughout Montgomery County. And now you're a principal. And sometimes people think of principal as forbidding, remote, authoritarian figures. That's not what you're like as a principal. But tell us what your experience from the inside is like being principal at Richard Montgomery.
Well, I think that unfortunately, the image of what a principal's job is often shaped by stereotypes, right, of principals. There could be some truth in those stereotypes, from the old days. What's wonderful about being a principal in this day and age is the collaboration with the community, with the conversations that you have with students and their voices and listening to them, being at the forefront of what you do, either as a teacher or a school leader. And also that collaboration with parents and community partners. Really, the principalship is about you're that person between the school and the rest of the community. And you get to see the breadth of a community, right? You get to see how outside organizations serve kids, but you also get to see the wonderful things that students and teachers are doing every day. And I truly feel that being in a school building every single day is an act of hope. Every single day you see the aspiration for something better, whether it be learning something new, learning history, learning art, music, math, whatever it is, or just students making an effort to better themselves, right, to become better citizens. So that's my perspective as principal, and that's why I really enjoy this work so much, as challenging as it is in the times that we're going through for many reasons with COVID, social unrest, political unrest, really trying to address issues of racism in our society. With all of that, there is so much hope in a school and all the efforts of the school community on behalf of students and students on behalf of each other. So that's what I love about my job.
Well, it's beautiful to hear you express it like that. The school is like an anchor of hope and stability for people in tough times through COVID-19 and through climate change and all the things that kids are scared about and all the things that grownups are trying to deal with. The school itself becomes a place of hope and spirit. You grew up in a bilingual household, and I think you have long champion the idea that learning different languages is a way to build bridges, and the different backgrounds that we all come to Maryland with or grow up in Maryland with or should be a source of strength for us rather than a source of division. And tell us how you're able to promote that philosophy through your work as a principal.
I've been very fortunate, you know, as you mentioned, I have a mother who's Puerto Rican, and we only speak Spanish to each other, even though her English is better than most English speakers. But she was an English major in Puerto Rico. And so truly, as you said, the fact that I'm bilingual and bicultural has allowed me to be a bridge in my work, right? My whole career has been about being a bridge between cultures. First with migrant farm workers, where I actually was coordinating with growers to come out and reach the migrant farm workers about pesticide safety education. And then obviously as a Spanish teacher, you know, teaching a language which also teaches thinking, right? Different cultures think about things differently. And sometimes our words, I find sometimes that a word in Spanish fits a situation better than a word in English that I know. And so one thing that I've been fortunate in, for example, in the Blair community, when I worked in the Blair community, obviously in the Tacoma community as principal, I have been able to do a lot of outreach to the Hispanic community because I'm a Spanish speaker. And work with community members within the Hispanic community. You know, that's not the only community. That's another language community, right? We have in Tacoma, we had a strong Ethiopian community. I just think it really causes you to think about a simple obstacle, right? A language is not the hardest obstacle to overcome when reaching another group of people. You just need another person that can unlock that language for everybody else so that you can get your message to them and connect with them. So, so language is something that we don't think a lot about philosophically because we're using it all the time. But I think that as someone who is a person raised in thinking about language, and by the way, my sister is a translator. She's translated like works of poetry. And my mother was a Spanish teacher and she's also a poet. So in my family, language is something that we always talk about. And as it pertains to education, we always have to be thinking about, right, the language we use to communicate to students and families and what that language communicates. But then we make sure that we don't have language as the obstacle from a family being able to connect to school.
Yes, we want language to be a mechanism for translation and for inclusion rather than separation.
Yes, yes.
So, well, that's yet another beautiful thought you've injected into our discourse here. I wish we could go on all day, Ms. Deeny, and I definitely want to come out and see you and your wonderful staff and teachers and students at RM. But I've got to ask you to do something. I gave you a little warning. I was going to ask you about this, but you wrote a song, which I've never heard, which I understand is beautiful, about the carousel out at Glen Echo. And maybe you'd say a word about why you wrote this song long ago, and maybe you'd play a little bit of it for us, and at least until they blow the whistle.
Sure, I would love to. So I've got my guitar right here. I always have a guitar in my office, and I like to play for students. And your daughter, Hannah, would have heard some, like we would have sung along in her class. This song, I actually was first raised close to the carousel, close to Glen Echo as a child. And then then we moved away out to Rockville. When I came back to the carousel one time when I was in college, I was writing music at the time. And I wrote this song that's a reflection on like the cycle of life, because I was reminiscing about how, like, okay, now I'm 21 and I'm back at this carousel that I remember as a child. Interestingly, I now live in that community in Cabin John, and my own child goes to that carousel. So, so this is a song about the carousel. Carousel, please take me round back to that old place, flying in a melody away from life's peak. Chestnut stallions brightly painted toss back their manes and fly me to a memory I didn't know remained. That's
Wow.
just a little piece of it. Yeah.
Alicia
I was going
Morales.
through a bit of a country phase at that time in my life. Anyway, that's the carousel song.
That's extraordinary. That's
Yeah.
extraordinary.
A little bit rusty, I'm gonna say. I haven't played it in a while.
Yeah, if there are any problems with it, it's our sound system. But we'll make sure we have other opportunities to hear the whole song. I'm dying to hear the whole thing. That's remarkable. Your career is remarkable, and your service to our community is just amazing. So thank you, Alicia Morales Deeny, for everything you do. You are our local hero this final week of September.
So much, Congressman Raskin. It's so wonderful to see you, and thank you for all you do for our community. I've always been very proud that I knew your family since the beginning of your work in politics. So thank you so much. Have a great one.
Thank you.